evening. I'm William Ferguson. This is Common Sense. Let's talk about fear. We all fear something, unless you're completely dead inside. But it was brought to my mind, listening to these Democrats spewing out this garbage, especially Ocasio-Cortez, spewing out, we're going to die in 12 years. Okay, she doesn't know that. She doesn't know when anybody is going to die, honestly. And so, she's saying it to cause people to fear. Why? Why would she do that? Control. You can use fear to control others. If you're afraid of something, you will let it control you. If you're afraid of a dog, and the dog is loose, more than likely you're going to walk away from the dog. A lot of people are afraid of the police. I don't understand why. Well, actually, I do. It's because they don't want to admit they're wrong. They are afraid of being wrong. It was like that kid in Ferguson, Missouri. Everybody was saying that he had his hands up. Don't shoot. No, he didn't. He was rushing the police officer. And the officer wasn't afraid. He had no fear. He had training. He knew what to do. And he did what he had to do in order to avoid injury to himself or even others that were around. And there were others around because there was video of it all over networks. But what about fear? Do you live in fear? I don't. I don't fear anything anymore, really. Well, I do fear God, because He's the only one that can actually cause me to die. Me, not the me you see. That's not me. That's just the package that carries me around. Me is inside. It lives with the Holy Spirit. And it's really great, because I live in peace with that Spirit. I don't get angry. Not that often. I have one thing that I have a pet peeve about, and that's this computer that I'm using. And I finally had enough of it. It's just an old Dell with a quad-core processor. I got sick of it because it keeps fading out. I can't get enough bit rate going through it. It's just not working right. So finally I said, you know what? I've had it. And so I've ordered a Dell XPS 8500 with an i7 processor in it, and that will take care of that anger, and hopefully that will run smoothly, because I've already done everything else that I can. But fear, and I'm the only thing I'm afraid of is this thing's going to keep cutting out, and people are just going to, well, forget this guy. He can't even do his thing right. And so I am going to get this right one of these days with the help of God and those who help me. So, but why? The thing I don't understand is, why does Ocasio-Cortez come up with the strangest ideas of things that we can get rid of in order to fix the climate? Cows? Really? You are so afraid of what? That you're willing to say we have to get rid of cows because they have gas and it's affecting the climate. That to me is leaning into the side of paranoia, or using fear to work on her behalf by telling people that are susceptible to anything you tell them, buying it as being the truth. Oh, well, she says we have to get rid of cows, and so we must get rid of the cows. No. You see, the Democrats, and this is another point, the Democrats are insisting on seeing the Mueller report before the Attorney General, William Barr, redacts what he is responsible to redact out of that report. He has to. It's his job. If there's anything secret or top secret in there that can't be put out to the public, he has to redact it. Okay? But the Democrats are so afraid there's nothing in it. They want to have something that they can point. He did it. He took out the good stuff. We know it. No. No. And why? Why do I say that? I am absolutely positive that what Robert Mueller put in his report is true. And what William Barr said about the report is also true. And you know how I can say that? Because the one being investigated, President Donald Trump, he wouldn't fire Mueller. He said, no, let him finish. Let him do his thing. President Trump knew that Mueller had hired Trump haters, Democrats, that were supporting Hillary Clinton, basically, to do the investigating. All right? Now, that gives President Trump another rung up on the ladder, because now the Democrats can't say, oh, well, they were partisan, they were biased to President Trump. No, they weren't. They were partisan against President Trump. They have a bias against President Trump. So the Democrats can't come back and say, well, no, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, they didn't do this, because they're biased. Nope. And President Trump, in all that he didn't fire Mueller, he didn't get rid of the team, he didn't do anything. Because he had no fear. He had no fear of anything. Why? He didn't do anything wrong. But yet, the Clinton campaign, they had done everything in the book wrong. There is so much illegality in what the Clinton campaign did. That's why they came up with the story. Oh, we have to have the story, because if Clinton doesn't get in, she could go to prison for a long time. In fact, should a court see that what she did in Benghazi as treasonous, or see selling the nuclear material to Russia as treasonous, she could be hung. Serious. Treason is an offense in the United States that brings the penalty of death. Okay, we don't do that. And so the Democrats were running scared. And I don't know who was doing it, but I've got a good idea. Somebody was paying off CNN, MSNBC, CBS, all of them, except Fox. Fox, we don't want anything to do with that, because we don't want to live in fear. We don't want to live in the fear of the lie that the Democrats and the liberal media have been telling. We want away from that. We want to live in peace, in serenity, not having to look over our backs all the time, making up lie after lie after lie, which is what the mainstream media and the Democrats are doing. That's why they want the Mueller report so bad. Because they want to pick and pick and pick and say, look, we found something. We can use this against President Trump, get him out of there, and get somebody else in there. Good. Let's go ahead and get rid of President Trump. Then we'll have President Mike Pence. He'll rock the world. Promise you that. He will. Because if you ask me, he's stronger in his faith in God. He has a higher integrity, a higher moral standard. He understands that it's a man and a woman that make a marriage, period. Nothing else. Life begins at conception, period. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And God is the one that made it that way. So if you want to argue, argue with God. And He'll tell you exactly that. But we don't fear. Christians, we don't fear anything anymore. We don't fear dying. In fact, I'm looking forward to it. And like Billy Graham once said, I don't fear dying. I'm looking forward to knowing what the mysteries are. I am. What are some of these mysteries that are going on? Because it is kind of a mystery to me. But then it's not. I understand what God has done. We have to have a free will. No free will, no love. But with that comes the negative. Fear, hate, evil. Do you think Antifa and Black Lives Matter, they do that just to do it? No. They're afraid too. Afraid of what? I don't know. But they're afraid. That's why they act out the way that they do. In Chicago, I would love to see a federal investigation on, I can't remember what her name is, the attorney up there that dropped the charges on that kid. He did something absolutely wrong. But I got a feeling that she dropped the charges because she was afraid. Afraid of losing her connection to the Obamas, to the Clintons, to George Soros maybe, getting kickbacks from the crooked Chicago gangsters or whoever's left from that era. You see, fear works. And these Democrats are telling you all kinds of stuff to make you afraid. But if you elect us, you won't be afraid. You won't have anything. And you will live day to day, minute by minute in fear. But we're going to tell you that if you vote for us, you won't live in fear. Because they want power. That's all they want. They don't want us to have freedom. They don't want us to carry handguns to protect ourselves from enemies, foreign and domestic. And a domestic enemy includes a socialist government. And I don't know why, but they seem to be afraid of the Islamic people, of those who follow Farrakhan, of anybody in that religion. Why? I don't know. But they may not be afraid of them. They may want to connect with them. Because Sharia law says, kill the infidel, kill the Christian, kill the gay man, kill all who will not follow what we say. And that's not just happening in the United States, that's all over the world. It's happening. And there are pockets of Muslims popping up everywhere. Is that what they're afraid of, the Muslims? I fear no one. I fear God. I respect God. I love God. God is so awesome, it's not funny. And you can kill me, what you can see, all you want. You'll never kill me. So, you want to live in fear? Or do you want to live free? Completely free. Not just as an American, but as a Christian. As a human being living life. Life, not fear. Life. Get to know God. Jesus, his Son. Get to know what's really going on in this world. Take time out. Research who you're voting for. And look at how afraid they could be. Which they probably are. And are they following a moral standard? The true morals that God has given us? Anymore? The time is drawing near. It's more than 12 years, Cortez. And no man knows the day or the hour. But it's drawing near. And the Son of God is going to appear. And we, the believer, are going to disappear. And then you who live in evil, that want evil, that admire and praise and worship evil, you can have all you want. Because the Holy Spirit isn't going to be alive in a whole lot of people when God comes and takes us. So you can just go ahead and evil yourselves to death. And to hell. And that's not me saying it. God says it in his word. Live free. Live free of fear. That's all I've got for now. Please pray for the president and the leadership of this country, that they will be protected by God, and that they will lead this country in a godly way. I pray for those who protect us and help us, military, first responders and such, that God will watch over them. Please, look, this life that you have now is the only chance that you have. And God, he's sitting there waiting. And Jesus is waiting. And the Holy Spirit abounds around you. You just don't know it. I thank you for watching Common Sense.